I'm Michelle and welcome to my Woolly Wumpkins channel. If you've just come across this channel by chance, please press like and subscribe so that you don't miss any of my future videos. So this video is our July roundup and it's been a very busy month with projects, but also because my daughter's getting married next week. So you can imagine the whole month has been a busy one getting ready for that, particularly in these circumstances because we've had to change everything and fit in with the coronavirus guidelines and the Welsh law at the moment. But we're not going to focus on that right now. We're going to focus on our lovely knitting projects. So I'm going to show you all of the projects that I've finished this month. Then I'm going to keep till the end my single and solitary work in progress, which I've kept that way deliberately because I need to keep next month free after the wedding's over to design the crochet shawl. I'm hoping to have that ready for test crocheters by the last week of August, if not the first week of September, and hopefully the pattern will be ready for publishing in October. I've had this design in mind to be released at the West Wales Wool Show. As you know, because of coronavirus, the literal show or the physical show I should say, has been cancelled, but we're going to have a virtual show. I'll give you more details about that as they emerge. The date eludes me right now. I should have written it down, but I'll put it across here like that. Magic. Hi. And I'd love to see you at this show because we find in the online shows we get to chat to the customers a lot more. It's not the mad rush because it's hosted over a few days, so it's really a good way to get to know the customers and for you to get to know me and my styles and to get the exact yarn for your project. So as you can see by my face, I'm very pleased with how my poncho turned out. This is a drops pattern called Dove 150. It's made with Lofty in denim colourway, which is a woolly knit yarn, and it's very heavy and it's very thick and it's very, very warm. So let's see how it looks. And I went with the hood in the end. We were trying to decide whether or not to have a hood or a cowl. So and I've just it's typical, isn't it? I just started to record and there's a refrigerated Arctic lorry decided to start up outside my house because I live just by an Iceland store, and they seem to have chosen the noisiest lorries ever to transport their goods. You know, there you go. So we'll try and ignore them. That's what I have to do. What was I saying? Well, I've just been caught out in the rain. That's what made me think, oh, I must do that catch-up video for the poncho. So here we go. I should have been wearing this out, shouldn't I? Look at that, lovely. My hood comes right down like that if I want to. Why would I want to, you may ask? I have my reasons. Oh, I'm having a little snooze. I'm out and about like this. But no, I like it. It's lovely and warm, and standing up, you can see the fit. I've made it deliberately so that I can have my arms out because I talk with my hands a lot. So wherever I'm at the show, as I've said when I was planning this, I need to be able to talk about the yarn. I need to be able to take customers' purchases from them. What else do I need to do? Have a cup of coffee if I get a chance after the show and before the show. Don't seem to get a chance during. So what else did I do? I added a few rows to the back so that it would fit over my camp seat nicely, and I could just wrap myself. I've got a way of wrapping it so that I feel all safe and locked in, and when I'm camping in I can just sit there around the old barbecue or campfire, all tucked in nice, just enjoying looking at the stars and my family's company and my friends. Well, not so much friends this year with coronavirus, but you know what I mean. We're ready for it. When we're allowed back out, we're ready for it. So it makes me stand like Wonder Woman as well. Hear me roar. I like my poncho. I like it swishing. I swish it here. I swish it there. I like my swishy poncho. Boy. So there we go. That's my poncho. Definitely worth making one. You know, if you like the thought of a poncho, then it's a nice easy knit because it's on a larger yarn, larger needles, and yeah, I'm really glad I made it. I decided against the pockets there because I thought this area is a bit busy enough as it is, and I tend really, I suppose, to keep my hands inside, so it'd just be redundant. I was going to think about making a pocket on the inside, but again, I didn't want to pull at the edges, and so I just decided to leave it like it is. It's just right. Just right, that's what I think. So, enough waffle about the poncho. As you can see, I'm waffling on because I like it. And I don't really want to take it off now, put it on. It's quite nice. Might make one for just lounging around the house in. Get very, very good wear out of it, wouldn't I, at this time of, it's not time of year, because coronavirus is any time of year, you know what I mean, when we're stuck in the house longer than we want to be. Right then, on to the next finished project. Woohoo! Here's a group of finished projects for this month, based on my easy crochet soaker pattern, which you'll find in my other videos with all the instructions. There's a whole series of videos from why you would choose to use a crochet soaker, the type of yarns that you would use for it, and then step by step from the casting on, the ribbing, the main body, the decreases, gusset, and the leg cuffs. So this has always been a popular pattern of mine. It's been out for about 13 years, I think, and it's had over 6,000 downloads. You can see some of other people's work crocheted up over on Ravelry, but here's this month's. So we've had the smaller size ordered. This is the 14-inch rise. This is the 16-inch rise, and then the biggest size that I do is the 22-inch rise. So as you can see, they get bigger and bigger and bigger to accommodate an ever more padded nappy, because it's not just your baby that gets bigger, it's their bladder that gets bigger as well, isn't it? So I've used here my organic merino Aran weight yarn. I have dyed it in the Cassie's colourway, called Cassie's colourway because my daughter Cassie, as children do, they always want to copy their parents, don't they? So she kept asking, can I dye something? Can I dye something? And these are the colours that she chose. So when I asked her to name it, she said, tell people it's Cassie's. So there we go, Cassie's colourway. And then we've coupled that with a turquoise. Okay, so these are lovely. These are on their way now to their new owners. Many sleep-filled nights now due to having a nice dry nappy. Well, not the nappy because that catches it, but you know what I mean. Lovely. Okay, so these are quite a quick project. They take me, I don't ever sit down and, well, I suppose if I sat down and did it from start to finish, it'd take me a couple of hours. But I tend to do them a little bit every evening, along with whatever socks I'm knitting or whatever shawl I'm knitting, because I seem to just always have a pair of each of those on the go. Lovely. So, on to the next project. Our final project for July that we finished is a blanket called Midnight Walk by Helena Malinsky. I made the smaller version of the blanket. Here it is. You've seen it on my Instagram. I added this bit on the edge myself because I was somewhere crocheting in the dark and I couldn't be sure that I was going to get the pattern right. So I just did what I know, and I could just do it whilst I didn't have to concentrate. I went with the smaller size because my grandson is still newborn. Well, he's just gone 2 months old now. And for the first 2 months I was unable to visit him and cut him the way that we would normally want to. But now I get to have him and cut him and squeeze him. Ooh. So this is his blankie for when he comes to Nanny's. So I enjoyed making that, and I've enjoyed making the other projects that I finished this month. Lastly, but by no means least, we're moving on now. This is my work in progress. These are my Waffle House socks by Patty, what was her last name? Waters, Patty Waters. So this is a paid pattern. I've had it in my Ravelry library, I think for years really, since it came out. I chose it because my knitting style is throwing, and I wanted to learn Continental for speed. Well, as you can see, this pattern has a good interchange of knit stitches and purl stitches, so I get to practice them well during the project, hopefully perfecting the technique. So let's show you, if I can, whilst leaning over the camera. So throwing is when you use the yarn here and to catch the stitch, but what we've been doing is, so first couple of stitches are always fiddly, so I'm going to purl across here because that's how the pattern calls for. So as you can see, I'm quite slow at it. But I'm not moving the lead yarn myself at all. That should have been a purl actually. So once I do master it, it should be quite a fast way of knitting, because you're taking out the time of throwing the yarn around the needle. It's already there. So I'm not going to bore you anymore with that. This is not a tutorial for it, it's just showing you why it's taking me so long to knit a pair of socks. But it is a good pattern to learn this technique. It does take some thinking, but anything new takes some thinking, doesn't it? You have to learn the muscle memory and such like. Won't bore you with more of that, but there we go. And a reminder that this colourway is called Catherine's Kitty Immersion Dye. July all rounded up. Planning now for our next month of activity. August, we're going to have as you know, at the shows I try to be as accessible as possible, because sometimes I am limited to a chair myself, or I'm on crutches. So I am aware of people's needs that may not necessarily be visible. Online though is a bit harder to get things right. I'm aware that I have some deaf customers, I have some hard of hearing customers, I have some partially sighted customers, I have customers with many different problems with accessibility in general, in life in general. And I don't want my website or my YouTube channels to be an addition to their troubles. I want that experience to be as pleasant for them as possible, because crafting is supposed to be a pleasurable thing. So I'm having a complete audit of my website and YouTube and Instagram channels accessibility. I'm going to talk about that in August. I'm going to tell you what we found, tell you the places that we found we could improve, make those improvements, hopefully all in August. Some, you know, there are things that may pop up that I have no idea how to fix, and I'll have to get some tech sort of person in to do that. But we're going to try and get our whole business accessible to as many people as possible, so that they can have this pleasurable experience that the rest of us do. What else will we be doing? Oh yes, so I've already mentioned this several times over the past few months. I'm also going to be designing a crochet shawl. Also, the last thing I wanted to mention is that I'm going to do quite a large, provided the wool gets here, because there is a wool shortage. I don't know if you know this, but there is, of certain bases, and they happen to be the bases that I use. I'm going to do, if my order arrives, I'm going to do an autumn colourway restock of both my websites and all of my local yarn stores that stock my yarn, to give us all something. You know, we're going to be knitting throughout the winter. We may have a second lockdown. We don't know what's going to happen, do we? Hopefully, you know, it's going to be the best option. But whatever happens, we're still going to craft. Whether it's sunny, whether it's rainy, whatever goes on outside those doors, inside, we're knitting away, crocheting away. So thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.